All right, so to follow up on the Justin Capaul episode, first of all, I've known Justin now for, it's got to be 3 to 4 years. And every time I meet with him, I learn something new. And especially even talking to his dad, too, just in this area in North Idaho, in Eastern Washington, he's just known in this area. And it's so cool to have that relationship where I can just give him a call and talk to him whenever. And he hit on a lot of really good topics, and just going down some of the things he chatted about. And I know I've brought this up before in the Rusty episode, but there's something to be said for going back and watching and reviewing the calls that you were on, even the things that you do in life. I mean, I even did the same thing on this podcast where I watch myself and figure out what are the things, what are the demeanors, what are the things that I would like to do differently, maybe the things I'm talking about that I think I shouldn't talk about. But always going back and listening to those tapes, reviewing, it's the best way to see and make sure that you're the best version of yourself. Because there's a lot of times, and I actually just shot an episode here recently where it's Matt Legg who's coming on next in the episode. I mentioned this in his episode, which is coming up. But it's you think things in your head. So even like when I shoot this podcast right now and I'm talking, I'm thinking about 100 different things as I'm talking. And so the thoughts go off in my head, but then you start speaking them into the mic. And when you go back and realize, you think, man, I never said that thing that I was talking about. And it gives you the opportunity to live those real world situations when you go back and reassess and take that and think to yourself, like, okay, how did I respond in this situation? How could I have done it better? And it's a way to be truthful with yourself. We can think and lie to ourselves sometimes like, hey, we're doing a great job at this and that. But when you go back and listen, it gives you that true feedback. And then the question is, are you willing to learn? And for Justin, in the position he is now, battalion chief, and going back and forth from different positions, it's just a true testament to him as a person, as a firefighter, the service that he is to the community. He's going to where he's needed most, and that's a huge testament to him. Another thing I took away from him, too, is just how many irons he has in the fire right now. I mean, he's doing everything with Bat 3, Second Due. He's doing the stuff here at Tailored. He's doing the stuff with his kids right now, his family. He spends a lot of time with his wife, man. She should have got more shout-outs in this episode, but maybe that's for another one. But there's so many things that he has in the irons that he has in the fire that it just goes to show that those are the type of people, and it goes to a lot of other firefighters too, who just have multiple things happening at the same time. And it's a true testament to him and to the service that he has to the community of Kootenai County. We couldn't thank him enough for coming on. Like I said, every time I talk to him, I just learn about something. When he goes with us to FDIC, when he's out talking to customers, we just had our open house, and he was out there just talking to customers. The demeanor that he carries with himself is one that you want at your company or on your fire department, because he just carries himself so well. And the communication he has with people, he's invested when he's talking to you. You feel that presence of him. So you understand and know why that he has the position that he has at KCFR. And like I said, it's a true honor to be able to just give him a call all the time and talk to him. And we're able to, shoot the shit back and forth all the time, which is great too. And he's got a great personality for those things. But also talking about the calls that he was on, the one call that he was able to go on and, he was able to take stuff away from it. That first call as a battalion chief, or one of the first calls, where he goes out and he has that radio talk that's happening, and they have a down Mayday call, a down firefighter with a Mayday call. And to think about how he responded in that situation, and that he was able to go back and review and listen to that tape and understand that, hey, I probably should have done it this way instead of that way. And he had that learning experience. Goes for all of us. And no matter what situation that we're in, whether it's work, whether it's our home life, whether it's school, whatever it is, we think about the times that we do stuff. It's like you make the mistake once, that's okay, it's a mistake. You do it twice, 3 times, now you're just not listening. But being the person that's willing to take on the pressure, but also have the outsiders who are able to say, look, this is how you probably should have handled that situation, or evaluate it in yourself and be able to make the change. Because a lot of times after those situations happen, they can break a lot of us. We think about, man, I did not handle that right. And in knowing that, sometimes it carries heavy on us, and then we let that affect us on our everyday life. But if you're able to make the change so that next time you encounter that same situation, you know how to handle it better. It goes to the mindset, really, is that what do you let your mind do after you have a negative situation or a situation that you thought should have gone differently? How do you react to it? And a simple incident of that, just happened to me a couple days ago, was I was actually at my son's soccer practice, and I remember walking out onto the soccer field, and all the parents are sitting in this little grassy area. And so I just walk, why are they sitting in the grass here? Why aren't they sitting out next to where the kids are practicing? So I walk out and I sit in the area where the kids are practicing, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching practice. And sure enough, like 30 minutes later, after sitting there and being the only one out there, I saw the coach go up to my son and be like, hey, and so he told him something, and my son came walking over to me, hey, Dad, you're supposed to be over on the grassy area watching practice. And at that initial second, I thought to myself, like, oh my gosh, I screwed up. I messed up. And I know that's such a small thing, but then to carry my head basically down, walking back to where all the other parents are sitting there, because all of them were thinking that, like, what is this guy doing? Just going out there, he thinks he owns the place. It's the thought process that went through my head, and I found myself thinking about that and reliving that over and over in my head, and I was like, what am I doing? So I had to cut that off and stop thinking about it. Now, I know that's a small incident, but think about having that same type of incident on a bigger stage and how much that can actually weigh on you. And doing the thought processes over and over and thinking through that does nothing but deter and hurt you. Instead of, okay, I encountered the situation, I get past it, I think about it for a second, I move on, and I grow from the experience. The same thing happened back when I was kicking. I'd miss a kick back in college or thereafter, and I'd let it weigh on me. But then it just hurt me further and further. You see all the NFL kickers now who got out on stage and they miss a kick, and their head is just not there. And then they go out and they miss the next 2 or 3. It's because you let that burden weigh heavy on you. And for someone like Justin, who's been in the industry for as long as he have, and to sit here and tell us on the episode, like, look, I had that incident where I had a downed firefighter, had a mayday call that had happened. And in that initial seconds, I was able to reevaluate the situation, think through the situation, and move on, something that we can absolutely all learn from in that situation. And then the last one here, I know we hit this on all episodes, but talking about just the feedback and stuff that Justin's got. Him and Steve do all of our videos, and for him to go out there and still be able to perform and do videos for us, even though he knows that, not necessarily all people who comment are negative comments, but a majority of those 1% of views who comment something negative. And for him to be able to roll that off his shoulders and keep moving forward and keep helping the fire industry and helping our company and be able to move forward with those videos, even on stages like FDIC, where he's going and doing that in front of, hundreds of people who are watching that demonstration, and then thousands of people who watch the video later, is also a testament, because there's not a lot of people who can get in front of a camera and do either, let's say, a podcast where he comes on the podcast, or you go off and do demonstrations, because it's easy to think about the negative connotations right away, which is, what are people going to say and what are people going to think? And at the end of the day, that's what deters 99% of us. If any decision that we're going to make in life is, what are other people going to think? A majority of the time, people think about the positives of someone doing something. Now, we see the negative comments, but really, if you think about yourself, like maybe you see one of your friends or family members or someone who has done something, and you think, gosh, that person really put themselves out there, and I really commend them for doing that. A lot of the times, those are the comments we don't hear. We see the negative ones, and those are the ones that really weigh on us. But it's the comments that we have to start thinking about, which are the ones that people aren't saying. Like when you cook a meal, and you think, man, I did a really good job on this meal, and no one says anything about it, right? At the same time, you think about that, and you're like, man, did no one like this? Well, really, it's the only time that someone doesn't like it is when they make the comments. So we got to think about those positive comments, maybe that people aren't saying, and maybe they're even too scared to just comment on something or say something about it. Think about the stuff that we do. What is best for your situation? What is best for you to do? That's how we think about stuff. And that's really what's pushed me and driven me through a lot of the stuff that I've done in life, which is, you know what? Will I be upset that I didn't do this later? And if the answer is yes, then I do it. Even if it's going to get negative feedback, even if there's things that are going to come negative from it, I still do it. And Justin is a huge testament to that he goes in full head first on everything that he does and realizes that head first, even if it's out of bailout and he falls off the ladder, but he goes head first into everything that he does. And he says, you know what? I'm just going to do this. I'm going to make sure that when I do this to the best of my ability, and I'm not going to do it half-assed. And it's a true testament to Justin and everything you bring to the table, man. So again, we appreciate having you on, appreciate everything you do for this company, for your family, for your community. You do a really good job. Can't wait for the next episode. So until next time, stay sharp and stay resilient.